I'm here with Dave from Kinotika, and we're going to take a look at the Zhiyun Crane 2 versus the Ronin-S. This is a big comparison. A lot of people on the internet, I'm sure, are looking for this because these are priced similarly. They look the same, they do a lot of the same things, but we're going to break down bullet points, a lot of different things, a lot of differences between these. So, you have the fancy slide going on.
Oh, yeah.
So, what's the biggest difference?
Well, let's just get it out of the way. The price points are identical, sort of.
Yeah.
This one is $50 more, but Zhiyun Crane is sort of trying to compete a little bit with DJI because they're giving you a motor now for the focus control. Do you have the motor? Have you played with the motor?
I don't. So I have Canon cameras, so this one actually works with it.
That's perfect.
So I don't need the extra motor, but if I had Sony or Panasonic or Olympus, I don't know, nobody films on Olympus, but like that kind of thing.
EM1, man. EM1 Mark II.
You could do that. So
yeah,
price pretty much the same.
They're pretty much the same.
Well, weight.
Yeah, this one is heavier, and that is kind of the thing that a lot of people have been talking about online is the Ronin-S is almost uncomfortably heavy compared to the Zhiyun Crane. I think it's literally almost like 1.5 pounds difference. It's like 4.1 pounds, and then that one's like 2.8 pounds, give or take. Sorry, metric people or imperial people. We're imperial.
Which is everyone else in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for the United States. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's a pretty substantial difference with the weight.
With that kind of comes build quality in some way. Like until I held that, I didn't think that this had any problems. But like you were saying before we hit record, like it just maybe feels a little bit stronger, but I still feel extremely comfortable putting a multi-$1,000 camera on this, turning it on, and it's balanced and it's not moving at all.
Totally.
Like, it's good to go.
Zhiyun Crane has been making gimbals for a while now, and I think that's really where they have the advantage because the integration with cameras is much better than the Ronin.
Yeah, so I tried it on my C100 Mark II here. It didn't work, but if I had a 5D, an 80D, a 6D, some other Canon camera, plugging this in and being able to control shutter, aperture, ISO, that's great.
It's
being able to
so
pull
valuable.
Focus. Most of the time you're probably using dual pixel autofocus. You're not going to use this, but maybe you have an older camera or something like that. Being able to switch those is
I've
great.
used this guy on that, and it actually controls my focus, which is amazing because I love this camera, but I can't focus because it's all manual.
So would you say if you're Canon, you would go Crane 2?
As of right now, summer of 2018, this is the one to get if you're a Canon shooter because the integration. But DJI has
They'll
said
probably
that,
do it eventually.
I mean, I feel like they're in for the long haul, probably in the next 2 to 3 years. They'll do it probably.
Yeah.
I was actually talking to a DJI rep at VidCon, and he said that Canon is sort of working with them, but they're not wanting to give them what they need, so they're planning on reverse engineering it to have focus control.
Yeah.
So DJI has the money, and that's the thing. That's the big difference. Is like DJI is it's a multi-billion-dollar like industry now.
Yeah.
And so they're going to try to push them out. But the thing is like the Zhiyun Crane has so many great accessories, like that monitor mount you have.
Yeah, like this side handle here. I just actually put this on for the first time today, and being able to, rest a hand, something like that.
It's nice.
Mount a monitor right here.
That's the thing is the monitor mount. There's really no true monitor mount solution yet. I've kind of jerry-rigged this in the past with my small HD focus monitor, and a lot of people in some of my videos on Kinotika, that's one of the main questions. How did you mount that? And I just kind of made it up. I mean, I just screwed in here with the little screws that DJI has. So there's really no true monitor mount solution.
I've seen, aren't there little clamps that they have?
Yeah,
that can kind of go there.
I guess you could. It's just, I don't want that to get in the way.
Yeah.
It's funny, the actual Zhiyun Crane mount that you have works perfectly on here.
Oh, so
I'm sure DJI doesn't
you integrated them a little bit.
Yeah, they don't. I'm sure DJI doesn't like that this works, but it does. And DJI hasn't released their own hand grip yet. They are working on it, but I feel like DJI was a little forced to just get this out. And so a lot of those accessories just aren't available yet. The camera integration, like we said. The only true camera that is fully integrated with this is from Panasonic, the GH5 and the GH5S, which in a way is kind of a good first camera. The GH5 is known for not having the best autofocus.
Yeah.
But there is focus peaking on the camera, so you could, in theory, like use it and pull focus. So that's kind of nice, but, I think the big thing with both of these is the fact that you can put a big camera like this on here. And in the past, these little handheld units were not strong enough to carry.
That's been one of my biggest frustrations with other gimbals I've been sent. Like I've been sent 3 gimbals from companies that I haven't put anything on the internet about because I'm using cinema cameras, I'm using bigger cameras, bigger lenses, all that kind of stuff.
The 1DX2.
Yeah. And you put anything with a longer lens on another one and it just starts jittering and you just like back away or it'll start spinning out of control and you don't really know what's going to happen. So the fact that when I turn on this or this, it doesn't have to be perfectly balanced either.
Yeah.
Like you get it close enough and turn it on and the motors are so powerful. It looks like these are sitting on a tripod right now.
I know, it's amazing. And I've actually thought, I haven't done this yet, but I've thought about just putting a plate on here and attaching it to a monopod and just going all day with it. I would imagine
Zhiyun makes a monopod that can attach to the bottom.
Oh, sweet.
And I've done that before too, because then you can set it on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could vlog with it.
Yeah. Pretty much, if you wanted to. I've seen people vlog with this or a smaller version or something. But.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this one does technically, the Ronin-S does have a slightly higher payload, so I've seen people put reds on here, and maybe we'll do that with yours.
Maybe.
But I think that's interesting. I don't know though. Like, where do you think the standard like Movi and Ronin, the standard system, where does that fall now with these being like around? Like, what are we gonna do with a Movi Pro that you can't do with this?
I think it's just taking everyone that has an entry-level cinema camera or was throwing smaller mirrorless and DSLRs onto Movies.
Yeah.
They're not going to ever buy one of the bigger, more expensive ones. They're just smoother. Like you were talking about algorithms of Movies just are so much smoother to use and easier to use.
The two handles are more comfortable to hold too.
Yeah, but I mean, doing
that's not bad though.
Is not that bad. Like,
and it's at eye level now too, which is great.
Yeah,
I used to either have to do this or invert the whole thing
to see the monitor, to see the camera, all that kind of stuff. So
there's pros and cons to both, really.
Yeah.
I think if you're on a crew environment and you've got a guy with an easy rig and a focus puller and you're shooting on a Red or an Arri Alexa, you're going to go with a Movi Pro or the Ronin 2.
Yeah.
But I think now really the kind of indie guys,
run and gun,
they're going to go with these.
Events.
They're so much cheaper too. Like back in the day, I have a Movi M5. It was like $5,000.
Yeah. Movi Pros are still $6,500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Ronin 2 isn't cheap either, but it is cheaper than the Movi. But yeah, I mean, for around $700 to get something that's as smooth-ish as those things, but not really. I don't know. I have found that the Ronin-S is surprisingly smooth.
Smoother than this?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't dialed I have a Zhiyun Crane as well. I haven't dialed it in as much, so I don't know if you've experienced like good footage with that, but I don't know. My problem with a lot of gimbals in the past that weren't from FreeFly have always been that they just feel robotic. Like even when I go in and dial in,
like push the joystick. You said the one on the Crane 2 looks like the PSP.
Yeah,
it's just like it's like two plates like rubbing together instead of this is an actual.
This is a nice joystick.
Yeah.
And see, I've got these two different modes on here too. This one here is a nice slow cinematic move, and then when I release it, it kind of dampens it.
So that's really nice. So that's harder to do on this because you would have to actually move the joystick back a little slower.
And
versus this has some ease, some ease.
These are those are settings that I've put in the Ronin 2 in the app, and I'm not sure if I don't want to speak to.
Yeah, Zhiyun. I mean Zhiyun has an app as well for calibrating and changing those as well. I just haven't played with it as much, but the fact that you can do some of those things that when you have a dual-handed FreeFly system or the bigger Ronins. It would ease into the movements, and that was something that on a lot of the other gimbals I was using just wasn't really an option. It was like we're moving, we're not moving.
Yep.
We're okay, I'm a robot. Like
exactly.
Exactly.
And
that's
what I'm talking about.
When you were moving, it looked good, but any of the start and stop always looked bad.
The A and B, yeah. And that's what when I was using a glide cam back in the old days, you actually have momentum and gravity to help you with that. And that's what I found with the FreeFly was it felt more like a Steadicam almost. And when I went to the Ronin M back when that came out, it was just so robotic.
Yeah.
But the Ronin 2, they fixed that, and the algorithm from the Ronin 2 is in this cheapo $700 Ronin-S. And so they're using a lot of the same R&D that they've done for their higher end cinema stuff, and they're putting it in here. So I think that's interesting. It's kind of not something that you can see on a spec sheet.
Yeah.
It's something you just kind of feel, when you use it. And I would love for you to go out here and maybe we could play around with it so you could see.
Get some footage, yeah.
There's some practical things too that are just nice. Like it's a USB-C charging port. So if you have like one of the new MacBook Pros, you can just charge your Ronin with the same charger you charge your computer with.
Yeah.
So it's just one less thing that you have to carry around.
It is pretty annoying to take this out of the cylinder and charge the 3 batteries.
And is yours like have a high pitch like nails on a chalkboard?
Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to put some WD-40 in there.
It's a painful sound. I'm gonna refrain from doing that right now.
Yeah, but when you unscrew it, it sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah. So if you're into that, nails in a
But on the topic of battery life, that one is quite better.
about 50% longer.
Yeah.
18 hours.
And
I've only charged the batteries on this thing twice.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like
Yeah.
I can't believe how long the batteries last on both of these. I mean, this is 12 hours.
But it's all relative. Like the hours, it's
Sure.
gonna be like
Depending on the camera.
depending on the way of the camera
Yeah.
and how balanced you have
They're
it.
probably when they put that on the spec sheet, they're probably talking about when you have one of these
One
on
of these,
there, right?
yeah. Probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this one does also just like the build of it obviously does have the motor down here, which is nice.
That is huge. If your camera doesn't have a flip out screen,
Sony, Canon, some of those cameras. Fuji.
These block it. And this is a nice feature. It makes it way taller too, so you get more clearance for certain cameras.
Yeah.
Like so tilting up and
mode.
down like C100 here.
This
Or if
one-
you had a C200 that you didn't have the B version without the I cup, you'd have some more room.
You can do this
tilt.
this thing here where it does the spinny spin, right?
Yeah.
I
Here, let me
can't
take
really
the I cup off. Oh,
can't really do it with this one. Here, I'm gonna flip it around.
there. Now you might have some more leeway.
Let's see.
Almost.
Ah man, yeah, I need the C200B, right?
Yeah, you do. You need a newer camera.
I can't do it, but you can do it here. Oh, there
No,
you go.
there. It just locked onto the
Yeah.
I cup.
It's supposed to be centered, but I don't know if does that one have a mode like that?
I don't know.
It's,
If it does, they'll tell me in the comments.
It's kind of it's kind of a cutesy little gimmicky thing to do, but
Like how many times are you gonna film the Stranger Things moment
Yeah.
in your videos?
remember when the gimbals first came out and like everybody, the first thing they do is this? They'd be like, they're like, oh look, it balances.
Or I like to put it. I like when people vlog in front of a mirror with the gimbal and they move it like crazy, and the image doesn't move at
Yeah,
all.
it looks kind of creepy.
Yeah, it is kind
There's
of.
a couple gifs of people doing that too.
Craig Adams does that sometimes. So
Oh, yeah.
like
Oh,
put
I
his
love
gimbal
Craig.
in front of the mirror and it'll just like the camera just stays in the center and everything else moves.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well-
so what else? We got a whole list here. We
Yeah.
prepared a little bit. We did the battery, accessories. We talked about
Selfie mode.
weight, selfie mode. They both have
They
that.
both have selfie mode.
Yeah. So I think it's.
So if you are a vlogger, you will be able to use it. I don't know about vlogging with a gimbal though. It's almost like the handheld look feels better for vlogging in a way.
Yeah, it's a little bit more raw.
Yeah.
Less.
If it's got these really comfortable, like they actually put padding on the tripod here. It's
Yeah.
kind
Versus
of
this is just hard metal.
yeah. I mean, again, it's kind of a superficial thing, but it's really comfortable to hold.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's just attention to detail on that. I don't know what else. There's a couple accessories that are supposed to come out with this, with the focus unit. They're going to have a motor just like that one that'll be controllable with the focus here. And I think that's almost one of the other benefits of having one of these over the traditional Movi is like if you wanted to use follow focus with a Movi, you had to get like one of those Red Rock systems and like wires going everywhere and like a gear coming all the way down there. So it's really nice how turnkey it is now to do follow focus.
Yeah. This one has an LCD
Yeah.
screen on the back.
This one doesn't have a screen at all. It's just
So you see what mode you're in. You see your Canon settings if you have that
aperture
plugged in.
control, your shutter speed. You can
Yeah.
change your ISO, and it's all on the screen.
Yeah.
In fact, you don't even need the app to like configure it. You can actually just use the
Turn
screen.
it on, use the modes. It has menus, just change sensitivity, all that stuff. So if you don't have your phone with you, or your phone's dead, you can just turn this on and use it. Versus
Exactly.
this has 3 little lights,
Yeah, and you set them up in the app.
and then there's a record button.
Yeah, the record button. They are working with Sony, Canon, and Panasonic with the record button. Almost all those cameras do have start stop.
Yeah.
But you just can't control your focus with Sony and Canon yet. Only Panasonic
Gotcha.
with the focus by wire,
Yeah.
obviously.
You can get lost in the menus here sometimes because you have the joystick, you have
Yeah.
a menu button, a record button, you have a scroll wheel, you have another button. So you can kind of get lost in the menus or accidentally click them. DJI's is really minimal. It's a joystick, 3 mode lights, the mode button, and then you record if it works.
And yeah, and I mean, no offense to Zhiyun, but I just feel like this one might last longer. Like it just feels a little bit more sturdy for some reason, but I don't know.
I think in summary would be, you can't go wrong with either of them. They're both really great. They're priced about the same. I would, if you can, get your hands on one of them, try them out. This Zhiyun Crane 2 has the benefit of controlling Canon cameras. So if you're on a Canon camera, I would probably consider getting this one. If you have a heavier camera, you're going to need to buy the 1DX plate thing that I just bought and installed onto this one, so you can lower the center of the gravity a little bit.
And then watch Brandon's video on that.
Yeah, watch Brandon Washington's video about how to do that. It is really complicated. Like part of the pieces fell out. And I couldn't figure out how to get it right. But this one, they built it so that it was big enough for bigger cameras. So
exactly.
Any other closing thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird because they're so similar. It's hard to pick one or the other.
Seems like you like this one because it's a little bit more cinematic, maybe a little beefier, even though it is heavier.
Yeah, I think like for me, I mean I freaking shoot on a 1DC, right? Like I'm always in favor of the image over practicality. So
clearly using motion JPEG codec.
Yeah, so like to me, it really just comes down to which one's smoother and which one looks more cinematic.
Yeah.
And to me, this one, plain and simple, just feels more cinematic.
Yeah. Well, cool. If you have any other questions about these, leave them in the comments below. I'll be looking at those from time to time.
Yeah.
Other people are smarter than us too, and they'll answer.
And I'll comment back too.
Yeah. So definitely check out Dave's channel. Give it a shout out. Go ahead.
Kinotika. Check out my channel at youtube.com/Kinotika. That's spelled Kinotika. And yeah, we're going to be doing our own comparison as well on that channel. A little bit more in depth and kind of nerdy spec stuff.
Probably way more footage in that one. This one's kind of a little laid back conversation.
I was in town and I just called up Caleb and we checked out his studio here. It's awesome. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that. I hadn't checked it out in person yet, other than touching it for 5 seconds at NAB. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in another one. Cheers.
Bye.